Hi, I'm Jill McBride Baxter, and I've been a sports law attorney for 30 years, and a coach's kid, and a coach's wife. I get up every day to protect people, be an advocate, and their trusted advisor. Let's get after it.
All right. Players have the option of participating in the Senior Bowl, the NFLPA Bowl, or the East-West Shrine Game.
Right.
How do they get an invite?
Well, again, it's really about your performance while you're at college, and they all have like grades on them, like, and I've talked about in former videos about, you know, whether you have a draftable grade or not. And like, for instance, the NFL, let's start with just the Senior Bowl.
Okay.
Most of the guys get invited to the Senior Bowl are also guys that get invited to the Combine. So they are really the
top of the draft
board.
The
top of the draft board, I would say. And so it's really based on, even though it's an independent group, okay, because who's ever in charge of the Senior Bowl actually goes around to the games and decides who they're going to invite. But at that particular bowl game, the reason why it's such an attractive bowl game to players is because it's being coached by an actual NFL team coaching staff.
Okay.
And all the GMs are there, and all the scouts are there, and a lot of the agents go to, and there's a week of practice, and then there's a game. So, and it's very important that every player understands that they really need to peak on the Tuesday and Wednesday, because those are the two most important days. Those are the two most important practice days for a player.
So not even necessarily the game is as...
Well,
it's important, but...
The game's important, but the more important thing is they will have interviews there. They actually have a whole height and weight system, okay, where you go through and you actually walk kind of on this stage and they do your height and weight. It's kind of like... I don't want to tell you.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's really... But, and so that happens there. And you know, yeah, the game does matter. I mean, you need to perform well in the game, but the two practices are really important, and it's a really good time. It's really one of the times that all of a sudden all the coaches are getting to see the players, okay?
Not just like scouts,
because at that point all the scouts have been looking at everything and all their grades, and then, you know, this is the chance for the coaches to look at you too. Whereas like at the Shrine Game, okay, and the NFLPA Bowl, for sure for the NFLPA Bowl, they get like former coaches to coach in that game, and then it's all the scouts and some GMs, right? Okay. And the NFLPA Bowl and the Shrine Game are usually the same week, so you're going to play in one or the other. And the process for picking them, again, is your grades. But there's some people who don't get invited to the Combine that do get invited to those games.
Got it.
Okay, so you can be a later pick. You can be an undrafted free agent and possibly get invited to the NFLPA Bowl or the Shrine Game. Just recently, like, I got an email and from the NFLPA already asking, hey, are there any names that you would submit, you know, okay, for that you know about. It's not like anybody's signed with anybody. So I always kind of am curious why I get that email from them. But and it is you have to understand, it is a process you need to keep track of. Like, I'll keep track of the process. Let's say I have a player that didn't get into the game yet, and I'll keep up with the scouts to say, hey, if somebody drops out, because if somebody gets invited to the Senior Bowl and they got invited to the Shrine Game and they already said yes, they may drop out, and then that spot opens up. So it creates a spot and an opportunity for somebody else. So you kind of got to keep up with that if you have a player who hasn't been invited. Hopefully you just get invited. What they do is they'll send an email usually to your coaching staff, or your coach, and then you'll get the invite by email, and then you can accept it if you so choose to. And that's another question. Do you play in all of them? Do you play in one of them? Well, obviously you can't play in the NFLPA Bowl and the Shrine Game at the same time.
Right.
Okay, they're the same week. But you could play in the Shrine Game and the Senior Bowl.
And this is a conversation to have, you know, down the line once you guys start your strategy, right?
Right, because, everybody's different. I mean, if I have a long snapper that got invited to all of them, well, it's probably going to be okay if you go ahead and long snap in a couple bowl games. If you're a linebacker that's kind of beat up, maybe not.
Right.
But I have also seen kids play really well in the Shrine Game and then get invited to the Senior Bowl. So I always think err on the side of going in all the bowls, and then, if you just are not feeling comfortable because you're beat up, tired, then don't. But it is a job interview. So I don't know why you would ever say no to a job interview, but like I said, it's a player case by case, player by player decision.
Okay, thanks for that, Jill.
Okay. If you're a future draft pick or a current NFL player who's renegotiating their deal, please give me a call or visit my website at jillmcbridebaxter.com. You can also subscribe to my podcast on iTunes called Representation Without Taxation. I look forward to hearing from you.